I've watched several of the confirmation hearings for Trump's cabinet nominees, but the hearing for the black job was the blackest hearing yet, and perhaps also the most revealing about the next 4 years. Scott Turner, the only black person Trump has nominated for his cabinet, is almost certain to be confirmed for the black job. You know the job. It's the same job that Ben Carson, Alphonso Jackson, and Samuel Pierce had. It's the one job the Republicans love to give to a black person, Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. Turner's hearing on Thursday was polite and non-confrontational, especially compared to the hostility from Attorney General nominee Pam Bondi and the incompetence of Defense Secretary nominee Pete Hegseth. Based solely on his decorum at the hearing, Turner actually seems to be a nice guy. And just like Herschel Walker, Trump's picked for the non-cabinet position to be ambassador to the Bahamas, he's a former professional football player. But it's clear to me that Turner is in over his head, not so much in terms of ability, but in his lack of resilience to withstand the pressure from his Republican colleagues, his reluctance to advocate for fair and affordable housing, and his powerlessness to stand up to his bosses in the Trump administration. The Senate Banking Committee that will vote on his confirmation hearing includes 4 black members. The Republican chair, Tim Scott, who famously professed his love for Trump and obsequiously rubber stamps his agenda with a toothy smile, and 3 Democrats who tried repeatedly and failed to get Turner to commit to fight for housing needs. Delaware Senator Lisa Blunt Rochester asked Turner if he supports mandatory work requirements that would kick many vulnerable people off of Section 8.
Do you support work requirements?
Yes, ma'am. I was getting to that.
I only have a little bit of time.
And so I think that, it's good for people to work. And I think a great precedent was set.
Do you support work requirements tied to housing?
It took 3 times before he finally admitted that he supports these restrictions. Maryland Senator Angela Alsobrooks asked if he would oppose cuts to HUD programs for affordable housing for low-income households.
What I will commit to is looking at these programs and to maximize the budget.
That didn't answer the question, so Alsobrooks asked again, and Turner only pledged.
What I'll do is I will work with the president. I will work with Congress to make sure that the budget that we do have meets the needs of those.
Alsobrooks then asked about Elon Musk's proposal to cut 75% of HUD workers, and Turner meekly responded,
What I do support is encouraging people to do the job that they've been called to do.
But what exactly does that mean? That doesn't answer the question. Georgia Senator Raphael Warnock asked about Trump's proposed cuts to HUD's budget, and Turner would only repeat his rehearsed talking points that he would
maximize that budget.
And when asked if he would crack down on racial discrimination and home appraisal bias, which Kamala Harris proposed to tackle during her presidential campaign, Turner replied,
We will continue to look into that, and I look forward to working with you on that and become more well-studied. Thank you.
You're the nominee for Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, and you need to become more well-studied on racial discrimination and home appraisals? That's not a good sign. We've seen this movie before, folks. Part of the reason we have a housing crisis today is because of decisions made decades ago when Ronald Reagan appointed a nice, quiet, black Republican HUD secretary as the public face to preside over massive cuts in funding that would disproportionately hurt black people. Reagan's policies created a spiraling crisis of homelessness and affordable housing that still persists 4 decades later. Most of the media attention in the coming days will focus on Trump's crew of controversial, combative, and clearly unqualified white cabinet nominees, but we should also pay attention to what Trump might call the black job. Scott Turner's confirmation hearing proves that Trump will not only follow, but expand on the Republican playbook of using a black face to implement a decidedly anti-black agenda.